I'm so glad to have you here on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning better ways to save more and spend less, and don't let anybody ever rip you off. Today's Clarkrageous moment. So many people got so excited buying hoverboards and now feel ripped off having had to unplug them and leave them in their garage or whatever, unused, unloved, not because they were worried about breaking something and ending up in the hospital emergency room. No, worrying about the thing spontaneously combusting. And a half hour from now, cash is king. But I have a new reason cash should be king in your life. Wait till you hear the riddle unfold. Our web address is clark.com, CLARK.com. And when you got a question for me, clark.com/ask. I've been nervous about a strategy that a lot of people use today to invest because they think it's safe. And it's because people are earning like nothing in CDs and savings accounts. Bonds are scary right now because when interest rates rise, the value of bonds people have will drop a whole lot. So people are being sold on the thought that owning utility company stocks, power company stocks, electric companies, that's like a no-brainer. Sleep well at night, what used to be known as a widows and orphans stock. That what harm could there be? What risk could there be? You have a monopoly power company. They don't have to worry about competition. States guarantee profits to them. And so it is the perfect sleep well at night where the dividends pay a very high interest rate. And over time, the stocks send remarkable, great, consistent returns. Not huge, but very good. I want to tell you that if this is something you do, know that it has more risk than you realize because technology is going through such a rapid transformation. The traditional crony capitalist kind of corrupt business model where the electric companies control the elected officials in a state that decide what kind of pay rates they get and all that with public utilities commissions, public service commissions, whatever they're called in different states. Although that is still true in so many states that the fix is in, the technologies are changing so quickly that eventually that monopoly position and the political power the electric companies have is going to go away. And it's happening. There was just a big blow up in Hawaii. I don't know if you know what's going on in Hawaii, but the power company there was refusing to hook up anybody who added solar to their homes. They said, you add solar, you can't be our customer. And so that caused a big brouhaha because the power company, Hawaii has the most expensive electricity in the United States. Power company just was like, well, wait, we're a monopoly. We're not going to deal with these people putting solar up, even though the sun in Hawaii is there reliably every day of the year and can provide most power people need. And so then the power company put itself up for sale. And then that got rejected in Hawaii because the new owners have been very hostile to solar in the state of Florida. So here's the thing. You can use political influence and money and all that to try to slow things down, but ultimately you can't stop technology. Do you know LED light bulbs by themselves are going to reduce power consumption around the country 10 to 15%. LED bulbs that give better light than a traditional bulb and are designed to last 20 or so years and now cost very little. I mean, they're dropping to the point where they're going to be $1 or something probably in a few months. On sale, they're already often in that price range, $1 something. And then you're not going to be able to hold back what solar and wind are going to do to change the demand for the power company's products. So this is not about the politics of solar, wind, or all that. This is about fact. Technology is changing the balance of power. And so I'm not saying that today you need to sell your utility stocks. What I'm saying is don't think of them anymore as just a slam dunk, low risk kind of way for you to invest your money and avoid the general risks in the marketplace. Because technology is an enormous disruptor and is absolutely going to change how you and I get power. The early adopters, yes, now, commonly adopted steadily over the next several years. And by the way, if you have not changed out the bulbs in your house to LED, what are you waiting for? Because all you do is save money. Jerry joins us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Jerry.
How are you?
Great, thank you, Jerry. You want to talk about something that goes on the web with unsubscribe. Talk to me about unsubscribe.
Yes, I gather that it's a law that all emails have to carry some form of ability to unsubscribe, and some of them have a link that you simply click on and it says, thank you, you're unsubscribed, and they go away. But some of them, when you click on the unsubscribe link, say, enter your email address and we will unsubscribe you. And I have always ignored those because I think they're just simply phishing for valid email addresses. True or not?
I don't know. I've not heard that before. We may hear from some techie why a company would have a less sophisticated email service, but
right.
The companies that use the really sophisticated email services are set up to make it very easy for you to unsubscribe. And by the way, I'm not aware of any legal requirement that there be that notice, but the reason people want to make it easy for you to unsubscribe is what will happen too often is people will report something as spam, and then Gmail or Yahoo Mail or whatever mail you use will then treat everybody's receipt of an email from that sender as spam. And companies will see their response rates go way, 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 way down. So that's why, the ones that you just click and it says you're now unsubscribed, they make it so easy for you, Jerry, because they don't want the whole spam thing to take over.
Understand. It just seems to me if they want me to enter my email address, they already know it, or I wouldn't have received the email in the first place.
Right. I'm with you, and so I'm puzzled. So, we have so many people that work in tech that listen to our show. I'm sure we'll hear from somebody who will be able to explain, is there a legitimate reason that would not be somebody pulling a scam or whatever, trying to validate for mailing list purposes, which is what you're saying, is that they're just spamming everybody and hoping that by you clicking unsubscribe, you give them now a validated email address?
Exactly.
So I'll see if we can get you that answer.
All right. That'd be great. Thank you very much.
And I appreciate that question. So I've never thought about that being an underhanded tactic to validate good email addresses. James is joining us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, James.
Hi, Clark. How are you?
Great, thank you. You have an unusual situation. Nobody ever has the success you had. What happened to you with the TV under warranty?
I'm going to shoot straight with you, Clark. I went to my neighbor's house in November, and he shows me his 60-inch TV. So I start digging online, and I find a 65-inch 4K smart TV through one of the big warehouse companies online. And I purchased this TV, and it was great for 6 months, but then I developed pixel damage. Do you know what that is?
I think I do. It's when it's a section of the TV starts looking really weird, like it's like electronic interference in that part of the screen.
Yeah, it's basically like a black hole the size of a golf ball. It's real irritating. It's kind of like Marilyn Monroe, beautiful, but the mole's kind of distracting. You know what I mean?
I've never heard it described that way. Okay.
So I got this, and I contacted the manufacturer, and at first, to be honest with you, I sent pictures. They said, oh, that's screen damage. We're not going to cover it. Long story short, I go to the big warehouse to the customer service desk, and they're like, oh, no, you're covered for 2 years. Just call this concierge number. So what I did is called. They initiated a 3-way conference call, and then they just kind of listened. And then, the major TV manufacturer kind of changed their tune. Oh, we're gonna refund that. Everything was great, but then they sent an email saying we're going to refund the TV excluding the sales tax, and that's why I'm calling you.
Okay, the sales tax, this gets arcane, but the sales tax refund would have to be a courtesy refund from the retailer.
From the retailer.
Because the warehouse club, because the manufacturer never collected any funds for sales tax. The sales tax is passed through, collected by the retailer, and then passed through to the state.
I see.
Now, I'm not sure that the retailer would be jumping for joy about refunding it because all they did is pass it through to the state, and they don't get that money back. If you had done a refund, if the store had refunded it at the store level, they would have refunded the purchase and the sales tax. And then with their paperwork with the state, they would have gotten a credit for the sales tax they refunded. This is generally in a category more, it's considered to be concession to customer, where there was you called it the store concierge, and they convinced them to give you a refund, and they gave you back the money you paid. It's almost like a courtesy refund. So the sales tax, you'd have to then ask the warehouse club, hey, what about my 6, 7, 8% or whatever it is?
Okay, that's the avenue I will pursue then.
But I want you to look at the victory you've already achieved.
Which is?
You got your money back.
Oh, this is true.
I mean, think about it, because the manufacturer blew you off, and only because of the power that the retailer has in the marketplace did the tune change, and they gave you your money.
Right, Clark. And, it's $900, $78 in sales tax. And when I was trying to be nice, the TV manufacturer, made in the USA, was trying to support them, give them a chance. And, what was odd was when I sent the pictures, they said, oh, it's screen damage. And I'm like, well, it's pixel damage.
How would you know that from even looking at a picture anyway to deny a claim? The great news is, quick computation, you've got back 92, 93% of your money already. I think you did great. We were just talking with James on the Clark Howard Show about having a defective TV that he had to fight to get a refund for. What about people who got defective hoverboards that burnt houses down or spontaneously exploded while people were using them? It is today's Clark-rageous moment.
Scams, rip-offs, outrages. It's a Clark-rageous moment.
So quite a number of companies are recalling hoverboards that people have bought in the United States. And I remember we bought some online that I'm not letting the kids use. We've unplugged them. I don't know what we do with them now. Haven't been able to find out with either if they have been, the ones we have been recalled, or what the scoop is with them. But it is absolutely crazy that these things were sold in such numbers and did not meet safety standards. The battery packs did not, and there were units sold with false UL labels on them saying that they had passed underwriter laboratory standards and that they were okay and were not. Now I want you to know, if you are like us and you have hoverboards, if you bought from a major retailer, there are many that are cooperating with these recalls, and you should be able to get a proper replacement of the battery pack for free. Because we didn't buy from a major retailer, I'm getting my just desserts, right? But if you did, and more than half were made by one company, Swagway, which we had a call from a young lady who, with her own money, had bought one, and I walked her through and talked her through getting hers repaired for free. You should be able to get the repairs done on the Swagways, and there are, as I said, several other brands, but all based on how you bought it, whether or not you're going to be able to get the warranty work done. But if you do not have reason to believe that the hoverboard you have in your house is safe, in terms of, and I'm not talking about somebody falling off and ending up in the emergency room. I'm talking about serious stuff, burning up a house or whatever. I want you to discontinue the use of it and know that it may be just money down the drain. And that, obviously, is Clark-rageous.
Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans proudly supports this podcast. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. It's fast, powerful, and completely online. You see, Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. Hate searching through stacks of old files and paperwork? Well, with Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and pay stubs at the touch of a button. It helps you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's been tailored to your unique financial situation. Even better, with Rocket Mortgage, you can do all of this on your phone or tablet. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/save. That's quickenloans.com/SAVE. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
I'm so glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to keep more of what you make on the web. We're at Clark.com, and you go to Clark.com. We got all kinds of fun stuff for you, information that'll help fatten your wallet. And what should be fattening in your wallet? Your greenbacks, your dollar bills, your 5s, your 10s, your 20s. Not your debit card or credit card. Why? Okay, this is wild. Okay. Through the years, I've learned, and it's been proven again and again, that if you have a spending problem, if you go to using only cash, you will spend a whole lot less money. And I've always talked about that in how it's not depriving yourself. It's not like the diet when you want the cookie and you can't have the cookie. No, it's actually liberating and powerful when you're in control of your money instead of it being in control of you, because that piece of plastic is so easy to pull out of your wallet or pull out of your purse, and you don't feel it. And you spend much, much, much more money. Old-fashioned cash, we have a different psychological relationship with. It's finite, your wallet thins, and it changes how you think about and approach spending. But I got something for you that never has occurred to me in all these years. And that is a study from Canada that was about the Canadian dollar, called the loonie, not our U.S. dollar. But these professors found, and this was in a Canadian version of like Consumer Reports kind of thing, that when people pay for things with cash money versus a debit card or a credit card, this is weird, but overwhelmingly people appreciate the item far more. They tested this and did it with any of a number of people, and they found overwhelmingly people felt, and they did various tests, overwhelmingly in all different kinds of scenarios, people felt much better about whatever they'd spent money on when they gave cash. Give to charity, much more of a sense of joy giving cash to the charity than handing over a piece of plastic. Buying a cup of coffee, much more joy from the cup when it was paid with cash than with plastic. And item after item, example after example, there was a clear result that cash has a whole nother joy attached to it beyond what I've talked about, which is the bigger thing, which is that you get your spending under control. Turns out it can be much more immediate. That if you go overpay for something at Starbucks, you enjoy overpaying much more when you paid with cash instead of the Starbucks card or anything else. Think about it. It's your money. Is it Carrie is with us? Is that how I say your name?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Carrie. Welcome to the Clark Howard Show.
It's an honor to talk to you, Clark.
Well, great to have you here. You have a magnificent question no one has ever asked me.
Oh, really? Oh, good. Well, I hope you know something about it. So I'm an RV owner, and I would like to be able to rent out my RV during the times that I'm not using it. And I'm just wondering what you think about, the various websites and services out there that kind of manage this for me and bring renters to me, and then, we go from there. I was just wondering if you have any experience with that or what your thoughts are.
Yes, this is the same basic concept as the services where people, which there are 3 or 4 now, where you allow individuals to rent your own car. This is the same kind of idea with an RV.
Right.
And the question with any of these, this is an opportunity for someone who's renting an RV to get one less expensively than renting one a traditional way. And most RVs sit most of the year. They sit, I saw some kind of number, most RVs sit, it's 340 some odd days a year or something. So you can turn those days it sits into cash for you. You're talking about your own that you're looking at renting out, right?
Right, that's correct.
The insurance liability aspect is if you're going to put your RV up for rent, you want to make sure that there's serious insurance, not for repair if somebody wrecks it, but on the liability side, if somebody, because an RV is a big vehicle, and someone not good at driving it, could cause significant property damage, but more important, could hurt somebody. Do you know, with any you've looked at, what kind of liability coverage is extended to you?
Yeah, the one that I'm looking at talks about $1 million liability on it, and I believe there's like $200K towards the RV, and then maybe up to $1 million for liability for injuries, etc.
Okay, so you have the RV insured with your auto insurer or a specialty insurer?
Yes.
So this is a difficult call to make, but you have your own coverage with them. I would see if they have any prohibition in your insurance policy for you renting out. And if you do, you may want to carefully consider before you do it, because what happens if the service you're using says they have $1 million and then they're like, oh, we're busted or whatever.
Right.
And that's the only concern I have is the liability side. But other than that, I think it's a very novel, very interesting idea. Because you make money for something that's sitting idle, and the person renting it saves money and gets to have that great trip. So just make sure you're okay legally. Brandon is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Clark. Thank you for having me today.
Sure, it's great to have you here. You work for the post office.
That's correct, yes.
All right. Well, you got a question for me about saving for your future. Let's see if I can help.
Yes, we have the Federal Thrift Savings Program, which I think I've heard you comment that, is a great program to be involved in.
It is the best retirement plan offered in America, perhaps bar none.
And my question is, we have either a traditional thrift savings program or a Roth thrift savings program. And I know you preach the gospel of the Roth IRA. And I wonder if that's the same in this case.
So can I ask how old you are?
I'm 36.
Roth TSP. You absolutely want to do the Roth TSP.
Now, I originally, a few years ago, before I got hired on, had just a regular Roth IRA. Should I even contribute to it at all anymore?
No, if you're contributing a substantial amount of money to the Roth TSP, then you're fine to keep doing that. Okay. And because the reason at 36 you will benefit mightily decades down the road from doing the Roth TSP versus the traditional is that, and I misspoke and I said, I called it Roth 401k because I'm always thinking 401k. The same would be true for a 36-year-old at a private employer with a choice of a traditional or Roth 401k, is that you've got so many decades that money can grow tax-free. And odds are that with the financial issues we have in an aging society, that tax rates ultimately are going to go higher. And so you paying the tax now, having the tax-free growth in the Roth, and then being able to spend that Roth TSP tax-free eventually, I think is a powerful, powerful benefit to you.
Okay, well, I thought that was what you would say. I just wanted to confirm, and I do appreciate you confirming it for me.
All right, well, you have a great day.
Thank you, Clark. Thank you for all you do for us. Thank
Certainly.
You.
Phil is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Phil.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you, Phil. You want to talk about something with credit cards, is that right?
That's right. So I have a credit card, and I got an email from them saying that all I need to do is click a link in the email to enroll my card, and then once I do that, they will donate $1 to a charity to feed children every time I use their card to purchase a meal. So I was just kind of curious.
Say what?
Why the link?
Wait. Say what? So your credit card company,
yes,
has a new reward program that instead of rewarding you money, rewards a charity money, but you have to elect that you want them to take that reward money and donate it to the charity.
That's the way I'm reading the email, yes.
You know what's interesting about that? The credit card company, the bank that owns your credit card, will get a charitable deduction for donating to the charity, and they'll probably be honored at a banquet or whatever for giving the donations to the charity. But they want you to opt in to having them donate a reward to the charity. What would happen if you didn't opt in? What do they do instead? Do they give you that money as reward?
I don't think so. I think it's just that's what I was curious about. It's either I opt in and they give the money to the charity, or I don't, and they keep the money, I guess.
Huh. Well, I don't know what the motivation behind it is to require you to say, yeah, I'd love for you to give the money to the charity. And it sounds like there's no harm for you to tell them to donate. But I'm curious, because they could, as a bank, they could say, for the next 90 days, any meals you eat at a restaurant, we're going to donate so much % to it. It may be, okay, as I'm thinking through this, it may be they've donated so much money, they've decided how much money they want to donate for charitable giving. They know the response rate will be very low for people opting into this. Mm-hmm. So it'll be much less expensive for them than if they just made it automatic for everybody eating at restaurants during the period. That would be my best guess.
That sounds like a good guess. I couldn't figure it out myself.
I don't want to sound callous, but I do need to ask you, do you pay your credit card balance in full each month?
Yes, every time.
So you should be in a credit card that has rewards that you get day in, day out, and gives you money back for eating at restaurants, gives you money back for whatever purchases you make.
Right.
Do you have a reward card yet?
I have at least a few, yes.
Okay. So then you can give whatever money to whatever charity you want to.
Yeah, maybe I'll just be proactive myself and click the link and give money myself.
That sounds like a great idea, and we're just speculating on why they make you opt in to having them give money to charity, but I assume it's all about their budget is the whole reason why. Mabel is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Mabel.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, great. How can I be able to serve you today?
Well, I have a niece who's 17, and she is just like the typhoid Mary of teenage spenders. She's horrible.
I have never heard that expression before for spending. That's really cute.
She's horrible. I mean, she's terrifying. She really is. You would just lose hair. But she's a sweetheart, really she is. But she just has no money management skills. So if I leave her some money, how can I leave it to her when I die, and know that she won't be like throwing it all at something shiny?
Right. So there's an easy procedure that's tough to carry out. Okay.
Okay.
You can, in your will, set up provision for a trust that's known as a capital preservation trust. And what happens with one of those is that whoever you appoint as trustee, his or her job is to preserve the money you've given and give Typhoid Mary here only the earnings from it so that the money doesn't vanish. So it's like an allowance that is generated every month. I mean, the most common kind of formula with a capital preservation fund is someone gets 4% of the money each year, divided out into monthly or quarterly payments.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect for her.
So
yeah, Miss Moneybags. Yeah.
Now see, that I gave you the easy part. Now you ready for the hard part?
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm.
You have to have somebody who's willing to be the trustee for the 17-year-old.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like if I have her brother do it, he has to follow what I have written. I mean, it's not
yes,
like
if it's very specific, you say this money is to be preserved for her lifetime, but she is to receive the benefits of the earnings of it.
Okay. So she can't get mad at him because he's simply following my wishes.
Exactly. And what he can do is he can use a company. There are companies that will, with a capital preservation fund, they send the recipient a check every month or every quarter automatically. So her brother isn't Santa Claus sending the money. It's the organization you use for the capital preservation fund that sends the money.
Okay, now do I have to pay, because I'm pretty cheap. I'm as cheap as you are. Am I paying, like, what am I to these people to send this? I mean, do I have to?
Depends on who you choose. The lowest cost I know out there for doing this is the mutual fund company Vanguard.
Oh.
And they do it for 0.38% per year, which is a teensy tiny fee to do a capital preservation account that they call, I think, a managed payout account. You can find out more about that at Vanguard.com, but you have to have this drawn up by a lawyer as part of your will.
You know, when you're going to buy a car, pricing information is great and necessary, but there's more to doing it than just the price. There's the actual buying experience. If you want to enjoy a better one, you should go to a True Car certified dealer. They're there to help you find the car that you want, and they're also what make True Car unique. With True Car, you can connect with a local certified dealer that you choose, so you can lock in a guaranteed savings off the MSRP and enjoy a totally better buying experience. And by better, they also mean faster. Over 2 million cars have already been sold to True Car users who have visited their True Car certified dealer. And there are over 11,000 True Car certified dealers nationwide, so it's probably pretty easy to find one near you. And check this, for a new car, average True Car users save $3,279 off MSRP. All right, so you're probably wondering, how do I do this? It's easy. Just go to TrueCar.com or, right there on your phone, download the TrueCar app. You can find the car you want, see the TrueCar pricing curve, which shows you what other people in your area paid for the same car, and that way you can know you're getting a good price and feel confident. Then you'll get a guaranteed savings certificate from the TrueCar certified dealer. Go to the dealer, and your guaranteed savings off MSRP will be honored, and you enjoy a quick, easy experience. How's that for car buying? So when you're ready to buy a new car, or even a used one, visit TrueCar.com or download the TrueCar app and enjoy the better car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states.
I'm so glad to have you here on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to keep more of what you make. Our web address, Clark.com. When you got a question, Clark.com/ask. When you have a question during the week, you know you can get it answered off the air for free. 9 hours each weekday. You can talk with a member of Team Clark for nothing. If you go to Clark.com, you'll see how to call in for off-air advice. Coming up in a half hour, I want to tell you what's going to go on over the next few months, likely, with what it costs you to fill up your vehicle. You know, prices went up for a while. Now they've come down a lot of places. I'm going to tell you what you have to look forward to. I want to talk right now in my continuing series that we will do through the fall campaign. In campaign 2016, I will continue to address topics that the politicians will either demagogue about or be afraid to discuss. I'll tell you my perspective and where we should be going as a country on different issues we face. And as you hear me do these things, you'll know why I could never get elected to anything, not even dog catcher. Because it's hard for people to hear about things that are problems and that the solutions require work and choice. Such an example is this. New report out finds, this was done by the Pew Charitable Trust, that the typical American in his or her 401k plan, if they have one, remember only half of people have an employer-provided retirement plan. For the half that do, the average balance is $18,000. 18 grand's better than zero, but 18 grand is not going to provide you with any comfort in retirement. If you account for the average age of somebody participating in a 401k plan, and you bring in young people as well, that skews it a little bit, but regardless, the amount of money saved is pitiful. Now, we as a country face a time bomb. If we don't come up with an effective way for people to save for retirement, it means that people keep working till they're too broken down to keep working, way past an age that normally people would be in what we used to call the golden years. The United States and Germany were way ahead of the rest of the world in the 1800s. Late, after the Civil War here, about 1870s, the concept of retirement came about then. So here we are, almost 150 years after, and before that in human history, there was no such concept as retirement, really. But the problem is, so much of what made that happen was some kind of central authority. Typically, an employer-provided pension was so much part of it here. And then the second part was Social Security. And the two together, plus whatever money you'd scraped up, gave people the ability to retire at a certain point. But employer-provided pensions pretty much out the window. Very few people work somewhere where they have that. And Social Security, with an aging population, Social Security is short of money. Even to provide the benefit that already is what we've been promised. We don't have the money to pay that. So then there's you and me. And the $18,000 in the 401k, it's not going to get it done. So we've got a crossroads coming. One solution is to dramatically increase the Social Security tax and use a centralized thing with government providing the retirement funds. I'm not a fan of that because the feds don't actually put the money aside. There is no trust fund sitting there with all the Social Security money you paid in. Congress takes it and uses it as they wish for what they want, no matter what they tax us for it. What I propose is that we, whether we're self-employed or we work for someone, that we face a mandatory 10% participation contribution that we must make to our own retirement account through our entire working lifetime. That you and I be forced to save. And that would be the role of government, to force us to save. But the money would not be with government. It would be in our own account with private players. You always hear me talk about save a dime of every dollar you make. Well, so being your benevolent dictator, I would make you save a dime of every dollar you make and put it aside into an account that you have that you could not borrow against. You could not do an early withdrawal. And it would be the money you live on. So we're not going to look down the road and say, well, what's government going to do for me? How's government going to pay for me? You know, we're at a time that we need to look at reality and make decisions that are real. Unfortunately, elections are decided by emotional appeals, but we got real work to do in America. Stephen's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. You want to talk about retirement.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes, I do.
What's going on with you, Stephen?
Well, I'm a retired police officer.
Thank you. Thank you for your years of service. How many years in what police department?
I was with the Newark, New Jersey Police Department, and I'm retired. I'm sorry, my service was 25 years. 25 years, and hopefully you never were wounded at any time in that 25 years? No, I was not. I was lucky enough not to be. Great. Well, thank you for those 25 years, Stephen. And I'm also a World Trade Center victim and survivor. Wow. You were at World Trade at the time of the attacks? No, we actually went over the day, that same day, later in the afternoon, and we assisted New York City Police and Port Authority Police. And have you had any of the health problems from that, from those dust particles? Yes, I'm disabled on Social Security disability from that. I am so sorry. So you have to excuse me. Sometimes I'll be clearing my voice a whole lot, and that's due to the World Trade Center dust. Well, on behalf of a very grateful nation, I thank you and everyone else who put their lives on the line
that day that was such a brutal, brutal tragedy for our country that we have, as best we could, overcome. And you know what's so exciting for me, Stephen? When you look from New Jersey back at Lower Manhattan,
right,
and you see how Lower Manhattan is thriving and how that new Freedom Tower sits there,
correct,
that we show that the ability of human beings to overcome, and I think that's wonderful.
Well, thank you very much for your loyalty and helping us people, our regular people out here.
Well, thank you. How can I be of service to you?
Okay, here's my question. I over the years working with the police department, I amassed a 457B contribution plan, which I've amassed a six-figure account over the years, which I didn't realize it was that much.
Good for you.
And it's around $125,000, and I have it sitting in TD Ameritrade right now in cash in the IRA plan there. And my question to you would be, I'm 58 years old. I wouldn't have to touch the account or the money till I'm 70 and a half, which gives me about 12 years. And I'm just really not sure whether I should go into a stocks, index funds, or annuities, or I'm just trying to figure what would be. So
in terms of the money you have to live on, you have the disability. Do you have a pension from the Newark
Police? I have a police pension, which I do pretty well with.
So you can live on the streams of income you have. This is extra in your case.
That is correct.
If I were you, I would put it in a simple target retirement fund.
Target retirement, okay.
And what a target retirement fund is, and you'd probably have to move the money from TD Ameritrade to someone like Vanguard would be good at this. Any of the low cost providers, but Vanguard's the lowest cost on a target retirement fund. And since it's money you're not going to need for the next 12 years, I would pretend that you were actually like another decade from retirement, let's say, and go in a target retirement 2025 fund.
2025, okay.
And I've never given that advice to somebody who's retired, but in your case, it would work, because what they do is they've calibrated how conservative it is based on what point you're going to need the money. You're going to have to start making withdrawals at 70 and a half.
Correct.
So if you go in the 2025, by then it will be considered to be a retiree portfolio, and it'll be completely appropriate to then make those periodic withdrawals required for an IRA.
Now, in the Vanguard fund itself, what type of return would you think I would be getting back?
Returns over the next decade are going to be pretty puny, no matter what you do, because the stock market is at record values right now.
Right.
So when stocks are really highly valued as they are now, as you look a decade forward, the returns are not as strong. You know, you go back to like 2009, when the market was at its lowest point of recent times, the market tripled in 7 years. Right. So it's had this tremendous run, and so now it's the breather time over the next decade. Okay. So I wouldn't expect anything particularly scintillating.
Okay.
But it'll certainly outrun what you could do in an annuity, what you could do in a CD, what you could do in a savings account. And so when I think about your situation with enough money coming in to live on, and this is being money that you're going to want down the road, that's why I think the target retirement fund is the easy button in your situation. In addition, I mentioned Vanguard. You've heard of them, right?
Yes.
So in addition to them, many other companies offer the target retirement funds, but what you want to look at is what do they charge you to be in one. With an investment like that, you want to be in the lowest cost available. Alberto is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Alberto, you have a warning about one of the giant monster mega banks. What are they doing?
Oh, they're ripping me off.
How did they rip you off?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. This is the first time that I ended up finding myself using a cash advance on a credit card. I found myself a couple of days short. Needed to make the payment for my mortgage, and mortgage payment late. It would have been late if I had waited the 2 days for my pay to come in. Had a little bit of an emergency and found myself short. So I borrowed $1,000 from my credit card. I paid the $1,000 back 2 days later. Through that transaction, I got charged $50 for the transaction fee. And then later on, I received the financing charge of $15. So I was just questioning.
So $65 for 2 days' use of $1,000.
Exactly.
Stinks, doesn't it?
Oh, he sure does.
What would the late fee have been on the mortgage?
Actually, I don't even know, to tell you the truth. I was just making sure. I'm in the process of trying to refinance the mortgage, and I really can't use a late payment.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you don't want that on your record.
Yeah.
I'd say that compared to something else, like going to take out a scuzzy payday loan or something like that,
yes,
as bad as the cash advance is and how stacked the deck is against you when you do a cash advance on a credit card, at that time, Alberto, you made the right decision. That was the right thing to do. And it's just $65 that flew out the window, but kept your credit clean and your picture clear for doing the refi. So I think you just deal with it and you live with it. Now it's time for a special segment of the show called Ask Clark. That's where you post a question for me at Clark.com, and then our producer, Joel, posts your question to me right here.
Yeah, Clark, Darwin wrote in. He says, I've been funding a Roth account this year with a scheduled paycheck deduction. Recently, I've taken on extra work, and now I'm projecting that I will exceed the income limit for a Roth. So what would happen at the end of the year, and is there a way to avoid paying the taxes on the Roth account?
Okay, what a great question. So you got no current income tax deduction for doing a Roth. You only get the benefit that it's income tax-free moving forward. It's a good problem to have, but a complicated one when you exceed the income limits. Under the law, you're able to unwind that since you're contributing current year and you don't always know what your income is going to be. You can reverse it and take the money back out of the Roth, and you don't get hit with federal penalties or anything like that. But the other thing you can do is you can move the money and reclassify it as something known as a non-deductible IRA, which is not subject to income limits. It is an obscure form of an IRA that then, in one of the weirdnesses of the U.S. tax code, among many others, you are then able to move it after you have established it as a non-deductible. You're able to move it into your Roth and completely work around the disallowance that you'll have if you earn too much money. Gosh, I know that was a mouthful. Let me say that again. You can reverse the Roth and not get clobbered by the IRS. You can take the money, put it in a non-deductible IRA, and then move the money from the non-deductible into the Roth that you had already funded that you had to reverse. And we need to clean up taxes in the United States, obviously.
Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
I'm glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to save more and spend less. And don't let anybody ever rip you off. Our web address, clark.com, CLARK.com. When you have a question, clark.com/ask. It's been a great run for you and me with what we've had to pay for gasoline. And it was a typical year that prices ticked up a fair amount leading to the 4th of July and then have been coming back down and will likely continue to decline barring some unexpected event in the world. But this run has all come about because of your fellow Americans. This has happened because of the guts of people and the creativity of doing the hydraulic fracking, where the United States has become a huge force in world energy markets. Saudi Arabia, not liking so much the United States playing this role, and they calculated that they could cause so much hurt by driving down the price of oil that they would destroy this giant oil industry in the United States and then in turn be back in charge and run the price of gasoline back up on us. It's not going to play that way. As we look forward, for you and me, the amount of gasoline that's been refined already is at a record high level. We've got a massive supply of gasoline available. And that's why you're going to see great prices from this glut that exists right now of refined gasoline and also diesel fuel for the truckers and people who have vehicles that run on diesel. But the really great news is that the American oil producers, who all the conventional wisdom said would all go bust because they'd never be able to compete at these lower prices per barrel of oil, it turned out to not be true. And the reason it's not true is entrepreneurs, capitalists, are creative and innovative. Business is not static. It's just not the way it is and stays the way it is, except in awful monopoly companies. In companies in competitive industries, people have to continually reinvent themselves and be creative. I saw an item in the Financial Times of London that, in spite of Saudi Arabia's wishes, U.S. oil producers have become so much more efficient over this process of oil prices falling per barrel that many of the producers that were looked at as never having a chance to be profitable at today's lower prices per barrel now are again, because they become more efficient at extracting and producing oil. And so the good news for America continues on two fronts. What you have to pay to fill your tank remains great. And America, being a force to be reckoned with in the world, and now being the Saudi Arabia of natural gas, where we're producing so much natural gas, the big push is to figure out how to take this massive oversupply of natural gas we're producing and sell it overseas to create more economic strength in the United States. You know, the narrative that America was a forever importer at the beck and call of foreign oil producers, that is over. I want you to know that anytime conventional wisdom says America's done, what you need is an attitude adjustment. America is just beginning. Jamie joins us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Clark. It's an honor to speak with you today.
Well, great to have you here. You have a question about your business.
Yes, sir. You always suggest that we use personal credit cards for business transactions because the added consumer protection there, and I guess the lack of consumer protection on the business cards. But my question to you is, does that not pierce the corporate veil? Everything I've been told is you have to keep all your personal financial things completely separate from any business.
That is a fantastic question. Almost without exception, if you get a business credit card, in the terms of your application for it, they pierce the corporate veil, and you are personally held liable in addition to the corporation.
Okay. Would that not open you up to open up the veil for other things unrelated to the credit card? If you were sued by someone, could they say, hey,
sue you personally? Well,
yeah.
No. So you have the corporate entity, and when you're doing business in the corporate entity, the corporation is the shield for you. using a credit card as a payment system does not change that issue of the purpose of having a corporate shield. Try to give me an example, and let me see if I can get my arms around it if I'm missing a blind spot or something.
I was just told that you had to keep everything separate, because if you were ever sued, they would go back and look at all your accounting and your registers and look for anything where you're doing business as yourself versus doing it as the business. And that is a very interesting thing. That's why people always sign everything that they do as whatever their title is, instead of just Jamie. You would say Jamie, comma president, or Jamie, comma owner, or whatever it is. That you always represent yourself as the officer of the business entity and not Jamie, the human being. Correct.
And I know of no reason why having a credit card, as long as all you ever put on it are business expenses and the bill is always paid by the business, that would not in any way pierce that corporate veil for how you do business otherwise.
Okay, great. Thank you for the information.
So, and by the way, there are people who say that I'm way too extreme on this. And I had a caller recently who said, well, his credit card issuer offers the same protections in writing for a business card as they do for a consumer card. And if one does, that's fine. But you want to know a little trick? You got to hear this. If you have a personal card, the interest rate cannot be raised on an existing balance, except in rare circumstances like you defaulting. On a business card, if you're running a balance, the credit card company can raise interest rates on you at any time and raise them retroactively.
Interesting.
So it's beyond just the issue of liability. Eddie is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Eddie. How are you?
I'm good, Clark. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Certainly. You have a fun-to-drive car.
Yes, sir. My question today is in reference to a service contract or extended warranty that's being offered by the dealer, and the third party would be handling the contract. My question is, good, bad, or evil?
So the only time you should buy a extended warranty or service contract is the manufacturer's own.
Okay.
Because whenever you buy these third-party warranties, you have no idea at all if the company's going to be around, if they're going to honor the promises they've made. And there's a big problem with the service contract business of what's known as bust-outs, which is an unusual term. It's like the opposite of a break-in. What bust-out crooks do is they'll set up a business. In this case, they'll print very impressive brochures. They might make a beautiful website. And they'll go to dealers and they'll say, hey, on the manufacturer's warranty, you're only getting this much commission. You sell ours, we're going to give you this giant commission. And then they sell a bunch of warranties, and within 2 years, they bust out, which means they disappear. They just vanish in the night with all the money, and no claims ever get paid.
Okay, that's our fear, obviously. The only issue is that dollar-wise, the OEM's service contract is very expensive, almost not affordable. So that's where the quandary lies.
Well, this particular vehicle has a average repair record, reliability record.
Yes, sir.
And so you have to decide how much money you're interested in putting into it.
Okay.
And, if you were to have to do a repair on it, you're having to spend the money on it. Would it be money that would bust your budget or not?
No, sir.
if you could handle the repair on your own, since it's not one that's got like a scarlet letter on it as being a disaster in terms of reliability,
okay,
you're better off just paying for repairs out of your own pocket.
Okay.
Because the purpose of insurance is to carry a loss that you can't afford. So if you could afford the cost of the repair, then you're best off being your own insurance company.
Okay.
Okay?
Good sound advice, and that's why we called.
Well, thank you, Eddie, and have a great day.
Thank you for your information, Clark.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks. And Tom is with us. Tom, first of all, I hear from our screener, Kim, that you have just been through a tornado?
Well, good morning or good afternoon, Clark. It wasn't really a tornado. It was 70 to 80 mile an hour straight winds went through northeastern Oklahoma, Tulsa, where we live, and lots of tree damage and 60,000 people without power at the moment.
Well, you're laughing, but you're okay.
Yeah,
nobody
we're very
hurt.
thankful and praise God. We're just fine. Just lots of limbs and stuff down. And anyway, but it's quite a storm. It just whipped through northeastern Oklahoma.
Well, I'm glad that you are A-OK. How can I serve you, Tom?
I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener, and I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The wife and I are 74. We're wanting to downsize from a 5,000 square foot home to about 2,500. Now, besides all the heartburn and the arguments that will occur in trying to downsize, I was trying to wonder whether or not we needed to remodel our older house to sell it or sell it like it is. 20-some-odd years ago, we did a remodel on it and opened it up a lot. But it still has areas that were 30 years old. So I just wondered what would be the thing to consider there, and what
it depends on the neighborhood
to do any remodel if we did them.
Yeah, it completely depends on your neighborhood, Tom. If the homes surrounding you have been heavily updated, and your home kind of sits there almost as like a throwback to a different era, and everybody else's homes have been heavily updated, new kitchens, new bathrooms, have that fresh feel, then you would be sitting there exposed, and it would likely be worth it for you to consider some remodel. Now, you don't get back dollar for dollar what you put in a remodel, even as you get ready to sell, but it creates a better sellable environment.
I hadn't thought of it from the standpoint of the neighborhood. I was just thinking mainly of the house.
It's really, if somebody's coming into your neighborhood and the homes are generally inside of the area your home is, and you fancy yours up, you're not going to get value for that.
Right. Well, I did one remodel. I did updated and redid all the landscaping to improve the curbside visibility, thinking that would be an important area.
And also, you may have heard me talk about farmers and not people growing crops. Those are real estate agents that specialize in your neighborhood and the neighborhoods around you. They're, agents who are high-volume agents pick an area, become really knowledgeable about it, and that they sell most of the listings in that area. You need to get you need to get those agents in and get their opinions based on what the other homes around you have done, and then you make that call.
Well, just looking at some that were available here in the last year, there was not much remodel done on them, and they sat there a long time.
And usually when they sit a long time, it's a price problem.
Right, okay.
So I'd get the agents in and follow not just one person. You want to talk to the 3 or 4 top agents in your immediate area in terms of volume they sell, and follow their lead. If they think you just clean it up, dress it up, fix a few things, and sell, do that. If they feel like you need to do some more work to update and modernize, do that. And I'm glad you are safe. It's time for Ask Clark. That's where Joel, our producer, reads a question you posted for me at Clark.com. Who's your first one from, Joel?
Clark got one from Reginald. He said, which is wiser, going with my insurance company's collision repair shop or an independent one?
So it depends on this. If you go to the one that the insurer is sending you to and you get a lifetime guarantee on the repairs, then I think it's fine to go to their shop. On the other hand, if they hem and haw and don't offer a clear lifetime guarantee on the repairs, go to where you want to have it done.
All right, and Tatiana says, hey, Clark, I'm interested in becoming a travel agent. The agency charges a fee, though, to join. What's your take on that?
Well, I was a travel agent forever ago, and going to travel school was really important. You know, these things where you pay a fee and you're supposedly a travel agent without having gone to training, to real training, and learned how the industry works, you're really just a salesperson that is almost in a referral mode, and you're getting a commission for doing that. So I don't look at that as being a real travel agent at all. And the fact that you may really enjoy travel is not in and of itself enough to qualify you for what you need to know and do. So if you do want to become a travel agent and it's your full-time gig, I would go get the training and then work for a real agency where you're working full-time.
Thanks for listening to the Clark Howard Podcast. Download new episodes every Monday through Friday at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com. Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this. When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson. A critical care nurse who stopped this morning to help at a pre-dawn crash on an interstate highway bridge in Maryland thought she'd be crossing a median when she jumped over a concrete barrier.
She said that when she got out, I guess there were flames, and she was trying to get, put some distance between her and the flames. And so that's when she went over the barrier.
Instead, Karen Doyle, Senior Vice President of Nursing at the Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore, says her coworker, Angela Weir, found herself airborne, plunging at least 100 feet into a river.
It's just utter relief that you're in the hands of people that, can take great care of you. And I didn't get a quote from her that said that she'd do it again, but I know Angie, she would.
Doyle says Weir must have had someone watching over her.
She had an angel on her shoulder.
I'm Ross Simpson.